Welcome to the Shigeki podcast, where science and longevity come together to help you feel stronger, live longer, and stay independent as you age. I'm Dr. Mark Hyman, and I'm so glad you're here. Every week we break down the latest research, blend it with decades of clinical wisdom, and deliver practical advice you can use. And I'm honored to co-host this podcast with one of the most respected voices in preventive medicine and healthy aging, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Mark. It's always a pleasure to be here and speak with people who truly care about their long-term health.
So, let me start with a question. Are you currently taking any supplements? Maybe a daily multivitamin, some calcium, vitamin D, magnesium, or B complex? If you're like most people over 60, the answer is yes, and not just one. You might be taking 3, 4, even 5 different pills a day. Now here's the part that no one talks about. What if some of those vitamins you're taking, the ones meant to support your health, are actually weakening your legs?
That's exactly what we want to talk about today. You see, more doesn't always mean better. Just because a supplement is natural or sold over the counter doesn't mean it's harmless. When taken at the wrong time in the wrong dose or without the right balance, even the most common supplements can disrupt mineral absorption, dehydrate muscle cells, and over time lead to something we're seeing more and more in older patients: leg weakness, fatigue imbalance, and loss of coordination. I've seen this myself. Patients come in complaining of weak legs, trouble walking upstairs, or constantly feeling heavy in the lower body, and it turns out they've been taking too much of one supplement or the wrong form of another.
In this episode, we're going to reveal 5 common supplements that could be silently sabotaging your strength, and we'll walk you through a simple 4-step plan to restore balance, rebuild muscle, and protect your legs, all without giving up supplements completely. So, if you or someone you care about is taking 3 or more vitamins a day, please like, subscribe, and share this episode, because knowing what to take and how to take it could make all the difference in how well you walk, stand, and move in the years ahead. Let's get started.
Let's begin with a supplement that many people over 50 take daily: magnesium, and for good reason. It's often recommended to help with muscle cramps, sleep stress, and even digestion. But here's where things get tricky. Not all magnesium is the same. In fact, one of the most commonly sold forms, magnesium oxide, is actually the least absorbable.
Yes, magnesium oxide has a bioavailability of less than 4%, which means your body absorbs almost none of it. The rest passes through the gut, and for many people, it acts like a laxative. Now, a little extra movement in the bowels isn't always a bad thing. But when you take this kind of magnesium daily in high doses, it can lead to chronic low-level diarrhea, which quietly drains your body of important minerals like sodium and potassium.
And here's the consequence, especially for your legs. When your electrolyte balance is off and your muscles are dehydrated from frequent bowel movements, you may start to feel twitching or muscle tremors, fatigue in the calves or thighs, or a sense of instability when walking or standing. I've seen patients come in saying, "My legs feel weak, but their workouts and diet are fine." The real issue: they've been taking the wrong form of magnesium thinking it was helping.
The good news is there's a simple fix. Switch to magnesium glycinate or citrate. These forms are better absorbed, gentler on the stomach, and more effective at restoring what your body really needs without pulling fluids from your gut. And one more tip: instead of taking one large dose, split it throughout the day. That helps improve absorption and avoid sudden shifts in bowel function. Small change, big impact, especially for keeping your legs strong and steady.
Let's talk about vitamin D3, probably one of the most popular supplements for people over 50. And it's no surprise why. It helps the body absorb calcium, supports bone density, strengthens the immune system, and even boosts mood. That's why many older adults take it daily, often in high doses, like 5,000 IU or more. But here's what most people don't realize. Vitamin D3 is fat-soluble, which means it doesn't flush out of the body like water-soluble vitamins. It builds up over time. And when you take it every day without checking your blood levels, you could be getting way more than your body actually needs. That might not sound dangerous at first, but too much vitamin D, especially without the right balance, can backfire.
Exactly. And here's the key part most people miss. If you're taking high doses of D3 and not pairing it with vitamin K2, you may actually be sending calcium to the wrong places. Instead of going into your bones, the calcium may start depositing in your soft tissues, like your joints, your arteries, or even your heel and knees. That's when the problems start to show up. You might feel tightness behind the knees, stiffness in your calves, or this weird heaviness in your legs when you try to climb stairs or walk long distances. It's subtle at first, but it builds, and many people think it's just part of getting older.
I've had patients come in with these exact complaints. They weren't out of shape, they were eating well, but they were unknowingly overdosing on D3 and never took K2. When we adjusted their dose added K2 and rechecked their levels, their symptoms started to ease within just a few weeks. So if you're taking vitamin D daily, especially more than 2,000 IU, please get your levels tested and make sure you're pairing it with K2 ideally in the MK7 form so the calcium goes where it should, into your bones, not your joints. It's not about stopping supplements, it's about using them wisely, because when it comes to your legs, your strength and your independence, balance always beats excess.
Let's move to another supplement that's extremely common, especially among postmenopausal women, and that's calcium carbonate. It's often recommended to help prevent osteoporosis, and many people over 50 take it daily, thinking they're doing the right thing for their bones.
Yes, but here's the thing, not all calcium is created equal, and calcium carbonate, while cheap and easy to find, is one of the hardest forms to absorb, especially if it's taken without food. The stomach needs enough acid to break it down properly, and that becomes harder with age. And it gets even worse when calcium is taken alone, without the nutrients it needs to work properly, like magnesium, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2. Without that support, calcium can end up in places it shouldn't be, including soft tissues and blood vessels, rather than in your bones.
When calcium builds up in the wrong places, you may start to feel things like leg stiffness, cramping in the calves, or a heavy dragging sensation in your lower limbs. This is especially common in people who are low in magnesium, which is needed to balance calcium in the muscles. And it doesn't stop there. Some people also notice that their reflexes slow down, or they feel unstable when walking, as if their legs don't respond as quickly as they used to. That's a red flag that something in your supplement routine might be off.
If you really need extra calcium, go for calcium citrate instead. It's gentler on digestion and easier for the body to absorb. And always pair it with magnesium and K2 to help the calcium get where it belongs. Better yet, try to get more calcium from real food: sardines, Greek yogurt, tofu, leafy greens. Your body understands food, and your legs will thank you for the difference.
Let's talk about vitamin B6, a nutrient that seems harmless on the surface but can become dangerous in high doses, especially when taken for too long. Many people over 50 use B6 to help with nerve-tingling restless legs or even trouble sleeping. It's often recommended for peripheral nerve support.
That's true, Mark. But the problem is that most people don't realize how sensitive the nervous system is to excess B6. The recommended daily amount is just 2 to 10 milligrams, but I've seen supplements marketed with 50 by 100, even 200 milligrams of B6 per tablet, and some people take that every single day thinking it's safe because it's a vitamin.
That's where the danger begins. When vitamin B6 builds up in the body, it can actually cause toxicity to the peripheral nerves, the same nerves you're trying to protect. People often start feeling a tingling or pins and needles sensation, especially in their feet or lower legs. Over time, it may progress to muscle weakness, poor coordination, and a general sense that their legs just aren't working right. And sadly, this kind of nerve damage doesn't always reverse, especially if the high doses are continued for months. The earlier you catch it, the better.
So if you're taking B6 and you start to feel weird sensations in your legs, burning, numbness, weakness, it's time to stop and reassess. You may just be getting too much. The best approach is to use B6 only when needed and always in balance, preferably as part of a full B complex, to maintain harmony between all the B vitamins. When it comes to leg strength and nerve health, more isn't always better. Smarter is better.
Next, creatine is one of those supplements that's become incredibly popular, not just among bodybuilders, but also among older adults looking to maintain muscle mass after 50. And honestly, it's backed by good science. It can help improve muscle performance, delay fatigue, and even support brain health. But here's what most people forget. Creatine only works well when combined with physical activity. That's how it gets pulled into muscle cells and used efficiently. Without regular movement, even something as simple as brisk walking or resistance training creatine can start to work against you.
That's because it causes your muscles to retain water, which is great during training, but not so great if you're mostly sedentary, especially in the legs. That water retention can lead to a heavy, bloated feeling along with stiffness, reduced flexibility, and even cramping in the calves or hamstrings. I've seen older patients who started taking creatine thinking it would magically make their legs stronger, but without consistent movement, all they got was a sense of tightness and difficulty going upstairs or standing for long periods.
So if you're using creatine, make sure it's part of a plan, not a shortcut. Aim for at least 3 to 4 sessions of light resistance or strength-based movement per week. That could be bodyweight squats, light dumbbell exercises, or even fast-paced walking with a bit of incline. And keep the dose modest. 2 to 3 grams per day is usually enough for maintenance. You don't need those high-loading doses unless you're training like an athlete. Creatine can be a powerful ally, but only if your muscles are active partners. Otherwise, you're just adding weight without strength.
So now that we've seen how certain supplements, even the common ones, can quietly weaken your legs, let's shift gears and talk about how to fix it. Starting today, here's how to protect your strength with a smarter, more balanced approach. Let's begin this recovery plan with something very few people do: testing, not guessing. Before adding any new supplement to your daily routine, especially after 50, it's crucial to understand what your body actually needs. That means doing the right lab work instead of assuming you're deficient just because you read something online. For example, if you're taking vitamin D daily, you should know your current D3 levels. If you're taking creatine or magnesium, it helps to understand how your kidneys are functioning or whether you're absorbing electrolytes properly. These aren't just random numbers, they're your body's roadmap.
Exactly. After the age of 50, certain lab tests become especially useful, not just for disease screening, but for optimizing your strength balance and quality of life. There are 5 markers I always recommend checking. First, vitamin D3, because both too little and too much can affect your muscles and bones. Next, vitamin B6 and B12, since imbalances here can directly impact nerve function in the legs. Then you have magnesium, and not just the serum level, but a more accurate marker like magnesium RBC, which reflects long-term status inside cells. I also check creatinine, which tells us how well your kidneys are handling any supplement load, especially important if you're taking creatine. Finally, I always look at calcium levels along with parathyroid hormone, because this shows whether your calcium is being properly regulated and directed into the bones.
And here's what I tell every patient. What your body needs is not written on a label. It's written in your blood. Don't let marketing decide your daily vitamins. Let your biology lead the way, because when you supplement without testing, it's easy to silently create problems like excess calcium that stiffens your joints or too much magnesium that flushes your electrolytes. And that's how leg weakness begins, slowly but surely. Smart testing gives you a foundation. From there, we can move forward with confidence and with balance.
Once you've done your blood tests and understand where your body stands, the next step is surprisingly simple. Start with real food first. Supplements should never be the first response. They're just tools to help fill in the gaps. But the foundation that should always come from your plate. If your magnesium levels are low, don't rush to grab a pill. Look at your meals. Add more pumpkin seeds, spinach, black beans, and sunflower seeds. These foods not only provide magnesium, but come with fiber, natural enzymes, and cofactors that help your body use the magnesium more effectively.
Exactly. When it comes to vitamin D, you don't always need a bottle. Just 15 minutes of early morning sunlight on your skin without sunscreen can make a big difference. Pair that with fatty fish like salmon or mackerel a few times a week, and you're already supporting your bones and immune system naturally. And for vitamin K2, which many people forget, it's right there in simple everyday foods. Egg yolks, aged cheeses, even traditional fermented soy like natto. These are rich sources that don't come with the risk of overdosing or imbalances.
Here's what's special about getting nutrients from real food. You're not just getting a single ingredient. You're getting a whole nutritional matrix, enzymes, prebiotics, antioxidants, all working together. This synergy helps your body absorb and use nutrients better than most isolated supplements ever could. And the benefits go beyond lab numbers. When you eat nutrient-dense foods consistently, your leg strength improves naturally. You feel more stable, more energized, and more resilient without the side effects that sometimes come from oversupplementing. Food is medicine, but only if we use it with intention. Start there, and you'll often find you need far fewer pills than you think.
When you've checked your blood levels and made food your foundation, then and only then should you consider supplementation. And even at that point, the key is to be strategic, modest, and clear about the goal. Not every supplement needs to be megadosed. In fact, most work best in small, steady amounts. Let's take magnesium, for example. If your levels are low and food alone isn't enough, choose a form like magnesium citrate or glycinate. Both are better absorbed and gentler on digestion than magnesium oxide. And instead of taking a high dose all at once, split it into smaller amounts throughout the day.
Vitamin D3 is another common one. You don't need 5,000 IU daily unless you're severely deficient. For most people, 1,000 to 2,000 IU a day is enough, and it should always be paired with vitamin K2 in the MK7 form. That's what ensures calcium goes into the bones, not into your joints or arteries. And vitamin B6. Only take it if testing shows you're low. Many people take it thinking it'll help their nerves or sleep, but too much for too long can actually cause nerve damage, especially in the legs and feet. Creatine is another example. It's helpful, but only when paired with physical activity. Without movement, it can cause water retention and leg heaviness. A small dose, just 2 to 3 grams per day, is more than enough for most people, especially if you're doing strength training or walking regularly.
Vitamins aren't like heavy weapons, they're more like fine-tuned tools. Use them incorrectly and your body will push back. But use them with precision and they can support your strength, energy, and stability in a gentle, long-lasting way. Less is often more, especially after 50. Targeted supplements in the right form and dose can support your legs and your life without creating new problems.
There's one truth we can't escape: if you don't move, no muscle supplement will work. In fact, when you take creatine, magnesium, or other muscle support nutrients without any activity, you may actually feel worse, heavier legs, stiffness, even reduced mobility. That's because your body needs movement to activate absorption. When you move, your muscles pull in nutrients like magnesium and glucose, helping you build real strength instead of just retaining water or storing excess energy. Physical activity also increases blood flow to the legs, which helps relieve numbness and supports faster muscle recovery.
And don't worry, we're not talking about intense gym workouts. After 60, gentle, consistent movement is far more powerful than high-intensity training. The key is to do it often and do it with purpose. One simple exercise I love is the chair squat, just standing up and sitting down from a chair, slowly a few times, 2 or 3 days a week. It wakes up your quads, hips, and glutes without putting pressure on the joints. Then there's brisk walking, 20 minutes each morning, can improve circulation, stabilize blood sugar, and boost energy for the whole day. And here's a fun one: balancing on one leg while brushing your teeth. It sounds silly, but it builds reflexes, core strength, and leg coordination, all essential for fall prevention.
Every step you take every time you stand up without using your hands, that's not just movement, that's medicine for your legs. It sends a signal to your muscles: You are still needed. Stay strong. So remember, supplements can help, but movement activates them. Without it, even the best nutrients can't protect your strength. Your legs are built to move. Let them do what they were made to do. That's how we age with energy, not fear.
To wrap up, taking vitamins isn't wrong, but taking too many in the wrong form or without understanding your body's real needs, that's where the trouble begins. Especially after 60, your muscles, your digestion, your nerves, they all respond differently than they used to. And your legs are often the first to speak up when something's off. Strength after 60 doesn't come from swallowing more pills. It comes from balance, from being intentional, from knowing when to support and when to step back.
Your body is still listening, always, even now. So don't confuse it with random supplements or megadoses that you saw in an ad or a YouTube video. Come back to your foundation. Eat enough real whole foods. Move gently but consistently. Sleep deeply. Breathe fully.
So now let's turn it to you. What supplements are you taking every day? Have you ever noticed tingling fatigue or weakness in your legs and didn't connect the dots? If so, you're not alone, and your experience could help someone else. Comment below, tell us your story, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone you love, especially if they're taking a long list of daily pills and wondering why they're feeling worse, not better. And we'll see you next time for another important conversation. Goodbye.